Welcome back, YouTube. By the title of the video you can already guess by now, but this is part 2 of my rabbit hole icebergs video. In part 1 of the video, I only describe the entries that I find interesting and are worthy to put in the video. But if you want me to explain the other entries, then I'm sorry. Most entries within that iceberg, or within these icebergs, I can't explain, since it breaks YouTube's guidelines. Like I said in the last video, I explained what an iceberg chart is, and I explained the top layer entries. In this video, we're going down the iceberg, to the lesser known entries and the most disturbing entries. This video is not going to be for everyone, so if you're sensitive to any of these topics that show up on screen, please leave the video. It's not going to be a fun ride. I researched things that I wish I never researched, but I needed the information for this video. Also, if you stumble upon this video and haven't checked out the first one, go check that one out first, because that's part 1 of this. Also, within the first video, I didn't properly address the iceberg creators, so here you go. All credit to them. If any of you darling viewers notice that I gave the wrong information or get something incorrect, please correct me within the comment section. I will definitely read it and I'll pin it. Also YouTube, this video is only for educational purposes. Like I said in the last video, I'm going to use some Breath of the Wild footage. I can't lighten up the mood a bit since we're going to talk about Cannibal Cafe. Enough said, let's get straight into the video. Blue Waffle. Blue Waffle is a made up / fictional STD or STI that was made into a huge meme because of the name Blue Waffle. Still to this day, there are videos on YouTube and some articles that showcase things you should never search up on Google, and Blue Waffle is one of them. It's because if you search up blue waffles, you would get to see something that you will never forget. Extremely graphic photos of infected genitalia would appear within the images bar on Google. The STD that people believe that is in these photos is chlamydia, but who really knows? Weird core / dream core / theorial core / trauma core. This type of core associates something within social media that mixes in with liminal space photos, but imagine liminal space photos but with a kinda drug trip. I couldn't really get that much information about this entry, but you can get the idea just by looking at these photos. Within a lot of these photos, there are some eyes and messages of like, where are you and where are you going? It's very dreamlike and Alice in the Madness type. LSD Dream Simulator. Yes, that is the title of the game. LSD Dreamulator is a game made by Ace Entertainment and was released in 1998 for the PlayStation 1. Within the game, you can explore dreams, but within these dreams, the locations are very much like a liminal space, but it shows really weird imagery all around. Sometimes when you run into a wall or touch something, the game shows you this dream chart and what you did in the dream. Within the chart, it sometimes has holes filled in or empty, and it's supposed to showcase what you did within your dream. But the game doesn't really tell you how or what you did. It's a weird game for sure. Number stations. The definition of number station is a shortwave radio station characterized by broadcast or formatted numbers. Governments have used number station as a way to invade a country or would use number stations to communicate messages to the person who is receiving them. Most stations have set time schedules or scheduling patterns. However, some appear to have no pattern at all and broadcast at random times. A good example of number station is UVB76, which is a station that has been broadcasting a really weird buzzing sound since the 1970s. It's weird, because there's sometimes a Russian guy just saying stuff, and this is what that sounds like.
Николай, Женя, Татьяна, Иван. Николай, Женя, Татьяна, Иван. 82, 890. Женя, Анна, Николай, Роман, Ольга, Николай, Анна, Цапли, Иван. 13, 68, 06, 04.
The thing is, no country or official nation has come out as reasonable for the broadcast, which led to some theories about the station being a spy station or a station that could start World War III. But I don't know, man. Unfavorable Semicircle. Unfavorable Semicircle is a YouTube channel that appears to have these weird videos. The channel was seen as a mystery among YouTube because no one knew what the purpose of this channel was. All these videos were very different from each other. Like some videos will appear as a few seconds or minutes, while other videos would appear to be 11 hours. Some of the videos will have really weird ambient noises with some guy reading off a message, and people have found some encoded messages within the videos. There were articles talking about the Unfavorable Semicircle YouTube channel that talk things like, oh, this channel is the most mysterious channel on YouTube right now. But after these articles came out, YouTube took down the channel. Many people had theories like this channel was like a message to the whole world about the apocalypse, or this channel was an art channel. Another theory was talking about an ARG, but many people believe now that it was a way to test YouTube's copyright system, in which, yeah, it makes the most sense. MK Ultra. Project MK Ultra was this illegal humans experiments program designed and undertaken by the CIA to develop procedures and identify drugs that could be used during interrogations to weaken people and force confessions through brainwashing and psychological torture. The scientists that were in this project would use drugs like LSD to their patients to study brainwashing and mind control. If this thing sounds kind of familiar to you, it's because the hit TV show Stranger Things has the same type of thing going on within that show. This program is highly controversial and leads to some speculation as to what really happened. The Conspiracy Theory Iceberg. The Conspiracy Theory Iceberg is an iceberg chart about conspiracy theories and has over 608 entries. The reason I'm talking about this is because the amount of strangeness of these entries that are at the bottom of the iceberg chart. Wendigoon on YouTube did a whole series on this iceberg chart and is really well made and is worth watching. Even though it's like around 9 hours, but hey, I watched this while playing Tears of the Kingdom when the game came out, so yeah. Also, later down this iceberg, I'm going to be explaining one of the entries from this iceberg chart, so get ready for that. Alex from Tennessee. This is referring to a story from 4chan, where an anonymous 4chan account started posting pictures and coordinates to a prize. The person would say to people that if you had to go to this place, you would have to park your car on the road and walk a certain distance to reach this place. The user would proceed to say stuff like, "It's under plastic at this point." This was definitely a mysterious stain within 4chan, but at the same time, it was posted on 4chan out of all places. Also, there was this picture posted by the user with a decomposing hand, which led people to believe that this guy was either trolling or intentionally leading people to somewhere gruesome, in which this one user named Alex from Tennessee had the courage and bravery and time to visit these coordinates and would update the thread. Alex would then proceed to post pictures from his updates. After Alex's last post, he never posted again, in which people believe Alex was met with foul play or was kidnapped. I'm 99% sure that Alex was the original poster, and once he saw no one come to the coordinates, he decided to make this Alex account and decided to post these pictures. One evidence for this is that the pictures were posted just mere minutes from each other. So there's a thought. White Room Torture. White Room Torture, or the White Room Punishment, is a form of method used on people to lose their sanity and identity. The way it's used is that the person would wear white clothes and stay within a confined space of pure white coloring with nothing but a floor and sometimes a bed. This technique is aimed at complete sensory deprivation and isolation. I probably should have included this in the last video, but who really cares? This is when the iceberg entries start becoming a little disturbing and messed up, so get ready y'all. Monkey hate. I can't believe this is real, but within YouTube, when you search up monkey hate, you will see multiple playlists after playlists of videos of people abusing monkeys in various ways. And I'm not joking. When I was researching this entry for the video, I completely thought this was all fake, but if you click on one of the videos and go to the comment section, there are people who generally hate monkeys and want to do horrible things to them. Thispersondoesnotexist.com. Thispersondoesnotexist.com is a website on the internet that showcases people. The weird thing is that these people don't exist, just like the website says. The website uses AI to make the facial structure to make a new face, and these look really weird, which lead to some concerns of the future of AI. So every time you reload the page, a new face is created. The website uses an algorithm by NVIDIA called StyleGay, but in some cases, you can see where the AI kinda messes up a bit, and you can definitely tell. There are other websites with the same type of title and algorithm like "This cat does not exist," "This waifu does not exist," and "This foot does not exist." North Sentinel Island. This is referring to an island that is the Bay of Bengal, which is home to the Sentinelese, an industrious tribe in voluntary isolation. The tribe has defended their island by force and wants to protect their isolation from the outside world. There have been records of this tribe attacking people and even killing them, by either shooting boats with arrows and low-fly helicopters. In one case back in 2018, an American Christian missionary, 26-year-old John Chu, was killed after he illegally attempted to make contact with the islanders 3 separate times and paid local fishermen to transport him to the island. CNN Apocalypse Video. Okay, this CNN Apocalypse video is a video that CNN has prepared in case the world comes to an end. So let's say, for example, that there's a nuclear war that was about to happen and we were about to get nuked. CNN would have this video aired to end humanity. The video consists of a performance of the Christian hymn "Nearer My God to Thee," performed by multiple members of the US Army. Navy, Air Force, and Marine bands. The song played is about the retelling of Jacob's dream within Genesis 28:11 through 12, in which describes the end of the world where a ladder will spawn and you would have to climb to heaven with angels descending upon the earth. This song is also the song that was reportedly played when the Titanic was sinking. Serial killer stan accounts. Within the internet and social media, there has been a mass spread of true crime and their cases. So recently, when I can remember back in early 2019 and 2020, there was a huge spread of serial killer stan accounts. To describe a stan account is an account where a person is a fan of the person they are posting. So some people have done this with famous serial killers like Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, Charles Manson, and even some school shooters. These stan accounts are in every social media platform like Tumblr, Twitter, and more. So you could say there's an account out there that legitimately stands for Ted Bundy. I am God. This is from a 4chan post that was made after some guy's friend started having viruses on his computer. The post says, "Hey X, I used to browse here a lot a few years back, but haven't stopped in for some time. A friend of mine recently had to send his computer into the shop because he thought he had downloaded some kind of virus. At the same time, he kept telling me about weird shit that keeps happening to him in his house. The main one is that he's been having issues with both lights and his television turning either on or off when he knows that he left them the other way around before leaving the room and returning. He hasn't actually witnessed them going out, but they're always opposite of how he left them. From what I've heard, the only real thing that he noticed being up with his computer is that he kept finding images and text files in his downloaded folder that he never knowingly downloaded. Long story short, this got me thinking, do you think it could be possible for some kind of paranormal activity to either fuck up with his computer, or maybe could the computer be the original source for whatever is fucking up his house? Pics mostly unrelated, just the only thing I still had saved from when I used to be on here a lot. So just like the post said, the computer has been randomly dumping pictures into the computer. So people have pieced together these images and found out there's an uncoded message within the pictures with this creepy face stating, I am God. After discovering this, I most definitely believe that this is an ARG of some sorts, but I really like how people came together to solve a puzzle within a forum. User/spontaneous H. Okay, so there was this user within Reddit that was documenting his heroin journey and how it affected him back in 2009. His first post described him being bored of his life, but the thing is, he had a successful life and had a well-paying job and a girlfriend. And one day he decided to do heroin just for shits and giggles. Within the AMA, he stated, I did heroin yesterday. I am not a drug user and I've never done anything besides pot back when I was a teen. Ask me anything. Within his first post, he stated that heroin was the best experience he ever had, and says that he's never going to try heroin again because he knows how the symptoms can be very much addicting. But unfortunately, after 2 weeks later, user Spontaneous H comes out with another post stating, 2 weeks ago, I tried heroin, once for fun, and made an AMA. I have been using since and shot up the first day today. Ask me anything. Within the second post, he describes basically being addicted to heroin now, even though he said he's never going to use the drug ever again. But now, within this post, he says he shoots up daily now and is starting to get the symptoms of the drug, like he describes throwing up aggressively, sweating a whole bunch, and even crying. He also states that his girlfriend left him after she discovered that he did heroin, and how the symptoms are in the way of doing his job. After this post, no one heard from the user in a while until 1 year later. After the second post, he came out with a new one stating, I am a heroin/opium/multi-substance addict with bipolar disorder, headed to rehab tomorrow because I didn't listen to Reddit. I OD'd 1 week ago and I'm in a psych ward. Ask me anything. With this third post, he describes how heroin destroyed his life to the extreme, and in 1 week ago, he OD'd taking fentanyl and is now admitting within a psych ward because of his addiction. After this post, he was inactive for a really long time on Reddit, but this story has a good ending. 6 years later, Spontaneous H came out with one final post on Reddit stating, Spontaneous H, 7 years later, update for anyone who stumbles upon this account in the future. I don't know if anyone here remembers me, but if you can look through my submissions history and get an idea, it's not pretty, and will take you through a journey my first time trying heroin, to my life quickly falling apart, so take that as a warning. It's graphic. I was totally out of my mind, and you may not want to read it depending on where you're at. He says within the post that he wanted to update everyone because he saw other users talk about this account over the years. He decided to log back into his account and come out with an update. Within this final post, he also states that he's now 6 years clean from all the alcohol and that his life is good. He does regret doing heroin and says thank you to everyone who reached out to him and hopes everyone out there is getting the help they need. Gang stalking. Gang stalking is a subreddit that's dedicated to the belief of individuals who believe that they are being targeted or followed by a person or a group of people, often referred as gang stalkers. You're probably wondering why this is on the iceberg. Well, gang stalking isn't referred to as a mental illness within psychology, but rather tinfoil hat people who are paranoid. The thing is, if you go down the subreddit, you would see why this is on the iceberg. Most people who are on this subreddit are mentally ill people who are suffering from schizophrenia or some sort of delusion, with people not seeing each other. This could be fake, but I don't know, man. Nephilim. Nephilim is referring to the Nephilim within the Christian Bible. The Nephilim are creatures that are mentioned a couple times in the Bible, but we really don't know what these creatures are. They are mentioned in Noah's Ark and the 4th book of Moses. We never got the real explanation of what these creatures are. In some Bibles and other translations, Nephilim is replaced with giants, so giants could exist out there somewhere, but they could be extinct. Another explanation is that the Nephilim people are angel/human hybrids of some kind, but we really don't know. This is most definitely a mysterious part of the Bible. Go for a punch. Go for a punch is referring to a piece of lost media containing a lost anime back in the 80s that was posted on 4chan of a guy looking for the name of the anime that he saw but can't seem to find it anymore. Within the thread, he says the anime consists of female high schoolers stuck within a bathroom and can't get out and start losing their mind and start killing each other and alive themselves. The thread then proceeds to say that the name of the video/file that he had of the anime was along the lines of "Go for a punch." People believed that the guy just started a hoax, but it then led to people believing that this anime was real, and people kept looking and looking but never found it. To me, I think this is a way to start a hunt, or something fake like along the lines of an ARG, but hey man, you never know. The anime could still be out there. Dialog Pass Incident. The Dialog Pass incident is an incident that occurred in Russia in 1959, where 9 members of the Polytechnic Institution in Russia were going through an exhibition that was over 200 miles long through the Russian-era mountains. After a few days, the 9 members never came back and went missing, and no one heard anything from them. After these people went missing, there was a search party to look for them, but what they found was pretty disturbing. The search crew found the remains of the 9 members at the base of Kolotsin Shankui mountain. I tried. The search crew found one of the members' tents completely destroyed and sticking halfway throughout the snow, but it looked like the tent was cut from the inside. The bodies of the exhibitionists were discovered in weird conditions as well. Some bodies were completely naked, some bodies had eyes missing, and one had their clothes turned off. One body was discovered to have some form of radiation, and some bodies had their skulls and chests wide open. The investigation from the Soviet Union came up with the conclusion that the exhibitionists died to a quote-unquote compelling natural force, which literally means anything, but a compelling natural force does seem vague, which of course led people to having the belief that the Soviet Union did find the real cause of their death, but decided to cover it up. Some people believe that these people died to a non-documented Russian weapon test, due to the radiation found on somebody's body. Some believe that a Yeti killed these people. One theory I found was there was some infighting between the 9 members, which is pretty disturbing to come up with, not gonna lie. In 2019, Russia authorities reopened this case and came up with the actual conclusion to this whole case. They said that the death to these people were caused by an avalanche, and that the bodies had their skulls, chests, and eyes missing were due to some birds eating them, and the radioactivity that was found was due to someone's lantern having radioactive elements in them. But some people do believe that these people were killed by a Yeti. Anthill Kids. So Roque the Roar was a Canadian occult leader and convicted murderer. Roque, a self-proclaimed prophet under the name Mose, founded the Anthill Kids in 1977. The Anthill Kids were a doomsday cult, so in 1978, he moved this cult to this area far away from society and built a small town to live in. After the town was built, Roque became an unhinged leader and an abusive cult leader, to the point if anyone within the cult wanted to leave, Roque would kill them and sometimes even torture them to submission. Some examples would be tying a person onto a stick, having other members of the cult throw rocks at them. I can't explain too much of this on YouTube, but Wendigoon made a really good video on it and which you should check it out. But to give you an idea, he impregnated over 9 women and fathered over 20 children, so they could still be in the cult and possibly be his successor. I remember reading or hearing from somewhere that one of the cult members had an illness like a stomachache and he didn't have any medicines within the town, so Roque cut this person up and messed with their organs to try to fix them. One of the women successfully ran off and reported the things that happened within this cult to some nearby authorities in a town that was close. Roque went to prison and was killed by his own cellmate after the cellmate found out what Roque did within his cult. Anatoliy Moskvin. Anatoliy Moskvin was this guy in Russia who was a Russian historian and grave robber. People started knowing him because of his obsession with mummifying bodies of young girls. 26 bodies to be exact. He would keep the bodies within his apartment and dress them up as dolls. There are pictures out there within the internet, but personally, I don't want to see that, and I don't want to make you guys see that, so I'm just keep going. The reason he did this is because he wanted a daughter, but took an oath and was too poor to adopt a child. In 2011, he was arrested for multiple counts of disregarding graves and dead bodies. Carl H. I'm gonna do my best to stay calm while talking about this, but Carl H was this online programmer and web design instructor, and was a well-liked person within Reddit and YouTube. On Reddit, he would help people with tips on online programming and would have tutorials on his YouTube channel about web design and online programming, in which he got a fan base. In November of 2013 though, he totally went silent and no one knew where he went. Around the same time, there was an article of some guy named Carl Harold in which he was arrested because of
sexual assault
and containing
child pornography.
And being a leader of a
Sex ring.
So Carl Harold was holding a child
Sex
in
ring.
his house in his basement, while he was making videos and helping people on the internet with web design and programming. He even held his 9-year-old son captive in his basement. He was confirmed to be guilty of his crimes and sent to prison for life. In prison though, he actually died due to suicide on November 3rd inside his jail cell. The people who knew Carl Harold personally were surprised that he took his own life, and even his lawyer was surprised. In 2016, around November, something weird happened. Carl H Reddit account logged back in and started making posts again. The post that had said that Carl H faked his death and escaped prison and is now living within Russia. But after this, his account fell silent again. So I believe, and many other people believe, that Carl H's Reddit account got hacked and someone pretended to be Carl H. Serbian film. Suburban film is a controversial horror suburban film that depicts sexual violence, incest,
And rape.
If you have watched this film, then you know why it's here. The movie has been banned in a lot of countries since it came out, and most people do consider this as the most disturbing film they've ever seen. If you want to know the entirety of the details that this film contains, then you just look up the Wikipedia page of this film and read it on yourself. But keep in mind, you are not going to be the same person afterwards. Trust me, I know. Luca Magnotta. The fact that I had to go into detail about this whole thing is bad enough, but there's a lot to go through, so here we go. Luca Magnotta was this guy who was responsible for the shock video called One Lunatic, One Ice Pick. Within the video, it shows Luca Magnotta murdering and disposing of the body of a Chinese student named Jun Lin, and posted the video on gore sites. After this, Luca Magnotta was convicted of first-degree murder and was sentenced to life in prison. Before his murder though, he was a model and escort, and people already knew this guy was a red flag and a weirdo, because Luke would post anime murder like cat videos and claimed that he was the person who did this harm to animals within the videos to gain attention. His dream was to get famous, so he took these measures to reach that goal. After his video of Jun Lin's murder, he fled to Paris and Berlin and would visit this one cafe and would be glued to the screen, reading and watching videos and articles about his murder video, in which then led to police catching him and arresting him. This guy wasn't only a psychotic narcissist, but a piece of shit. My condolences to Jun Lin and his friends and family. Kelly Ronahan. There's a pretty long rabbit hole by itself, so let me give you a short summary. Kelly Ronahan is a person who suffers from Munchausen syndrome. If you don't know what Munchausenism is, then Munchausen syndrome is a syndrome where a person pretends to be ill or purposely gives this sense of illness to themselves. One day, Kelly went to the hospital claiming she was having some mysterious illness that would cause sores on her legs. The doctors later found out that the illness that she had was that she was picking her own skin. It got to a point where she would pick her skin so much, in fact, you can see the bones. There are holes in her bones, which resulted in amputation for both her legs. Supposedly there are pictures out there of her legs and how they looked on social media, and I don't want to confirm that, but it's probably true. Bug chasers. Why the fuck does this exist? Okay, so bug chasers is a subculture of men who actively seek out to get HIV from a male partner. Yes, this group of people exists. This isn't a large community, but it is out there. Within this article I found, the men who say they do this is because it gives them a sense of danger and adrenaline, and a sense of belonging within a community. Cannibal Cafe. Cannibal Cafe is a website strictly only for cannibals or people who have fantasy about cannibalism. This website was on the clearnet and not on the dark web, so back then you can just search it up on Google or whatever site you used and just visit the website. The site had tips on how to properly cook human meat and how to obtain human meat. There was also a part of the website where you can buy human meat from people. I hope to God this part of the website is fake, cause holy shit. There are also forums where people can talk to each other about cannibalism, and for the people who don't know, there is this infamous cannibal called Armin Maywest, who is actively within these forums and asked people if they were willing to get killed by Armin Maywest and get eaten by him. I can't believe this shit, man. Armin Maywest did eventually find someone who gave consent to his offer. The guy's name was Bern Urin Brandes, and he met Armin within a Yahoo group, and both met in real life, and Bern did get killed and eaten by Armin Maywest. It's really weird how Bern actually agreed to get killed and eaten. There is another part of this murder that I'm not going to talk about, but you can look it up on Wikipedia, so yeah. But Armin did go to prison for this murder, so yeah. Anna and Mia forums. Sites are informal, unofficial collection of blogs, social media accounts, and other online forums promoting behaviors and faulty thinking associated with eating disorders like anorexia and bulimia. The people within these sites have started believing that eating disorder behaviors are just a way of life. These sites even suggest that eating disorders are a choice and not a diagnosable mental health disorder. These sites also have tips to suppress hunger, lose weight, and hide evidence of vomiting and provide dinspiration as a lifestyle. Goodbye Warden. Goodbye Warden is a website that showcases death row inmates' last words. This website was available way back then, but you can still view it through the Wayback Machine. MD Pope. MD Pope stands for Most Disturbed Person on Planet Earth, and is a film created by a person named Thomas Extreme Cinemagore. The film MD Pope, created by Thomas Extreme Cinemagore, is just videos that he found within gore sites like GoreTube, LiveLeak, and many others, and decided to put these videos together into one huge film. Yeah, this guy is just a huge edgelord. The narrative that he came up with this film is that he is the most disturbed person on planet Earth, because the film is so disturbing that it proves it to everyone. People have said that this film is the most disturbing film they ever seen, and apparently within YouTube, there are reactions of people watching MD Pope's film. So you can search this up on YouTube and see people's reaction to the gore video. So yeah, there's that. The Nobody. This entry could be referring to a whole other thing that I'm going to explain here. So yeah. Nobody is referring to this copy pasta. Last video, I described copy pastas and how people would copy and paste these stories and post them around the internet. Well, the same thing is with copy pastas. Just copy and paste stories. This Nobody copy pasta was spread around sites like 4chan and Godlike Productions, and there's a lot of stuff going on with this copy pasta. So I'm just gonna read it out for all of y'all to enjoy. The Nobody is a figure alive today who has extraordinary spiritual powers, including the ability to control reality with their conscious and unconscious mind. He is a man of no wealth, or worldly acclaim, through whom it seems God has chosen to manifest his strength and wisdom. He is said to carry the logos, making him a fearless truth teller and a menace to the powers that be. Instead of receiving strength through superior/inferior mechanism, the Nobody proves to them time and time again that a whole planet filled with creative, ingenious, spiritual ascended humans who are individually sovereign yet globally unified through consciousness can achieve greater things than a planetary empire of darkness and control. He is not a messiah, he's just like you, but he's found the keys to the kingdom within himself through sheer will, just like you will. Focus on increasing your service to others and be more loving to yourself and everyone in order to raise your vibrational and consciousness level, and learn to forgive yourself and others. This will change the vibration of the planet, raise the shared consciousness of humanity, and change humankind one person at a time. If this is your first time here, just remember, it's going to be okay. You may take shelter and find the rest. God's ego death. First, we have to explain what an ego death is. An ego death is when someone loses all their self-worth, or their ego, and believes they no longer have self-value. So people have come up with the theory that God within Christianity had an ego death. There are many different theories about this, but the two I found is that God had this type of ego death. Like everyone knows that within the Bible there are the Old and New Testament, and people have said that God's behavior and personality shifts between the Old and the New Testament. Like for instance, some cases God does kill people within the Old Testament, while in the New Testament he becomes more forgiving and teaches love, thy neighbor, and love your enemies. This one theory points to the book of Genesis, where God sends down 2 angels to check out the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. And when the angels came down to the cities, something bad happens to them, and God orders the angels to destroy the cities to the ground, which led God having this ego death. The other theory is that the ego death has a factor of a different definition of the term ego death, where someone's soul leaves their person, or when your soul loses your mind. So this God's ego death theory is that God left his person to become the perfect being. I probably described this really badly and I apologize. Sorry guys. David Parker Ray's audio tape transcript. David Parker Ray was a serial killer and rapist in New Mexico. The things that he did were not good things. Like he had this semi-truck trailer and made a little torture chamber within it, and soundproofed it, and some reports said that he abducted over 60 women, would do things that I just mentioned earlier. After he did these things to the women would have no memory to what happened to them, because David Parker Ray would drug them with attributes after torturing them and would lead them on the side of the road. The audio transcript part is that David would play a pre-recorded message to the girls and would describe what he's going to do to them. After his operation was seized by police, along with the tapes, you can look up what the tapes had, and to be honest, they're literally fucking foul to read. I hope this guy fucking rots. Junko Furuta. This is referring to the true crime case that involves the rape and murder of Junko Furuta. I already know this case before researching more about this, and when I was doing my research, I was wondering what can I say for this entry, because the Wikipedia page can literally ruin your day. If you want a bad day, just read the Wikipedia page, but warning, it is graphic. But what can I say is that Junko Furuta was a Japanese student in 1989. Furuta was kidnapped and tortured for over 40 days. The things that the perpetrators did is so messed up that I don't want to bring it up. This case gained a lot of media attention in Japan, which spawned movies and books. And the perpetrators who did this crime are now free within Japan because they were teenagers when they committed this crime, but they would occasionally return to prison because of later crimes they did. Truman Delusion. First I have to explain The Truman Show. The Truman Show is a movie starring Jim Carrey that came out on June 5th, 1998. The movie is about Truman living his normal life until he starts to speculate things around him. Basically, Truman's life is a whole lie. He's been living within a huge warehouse with actors pretending to be normal people, but they're just actors. The whole town Truman lives in has a bunch of cameras watching him. Basically, a real reality TV show. It is a really good movie. I would recommend it to y'all if you're interested. After this movie came out, a lot of people had the idea of, is my life fake? What if everything around me is all fake and I'm being watched by an audience of people? Which leads to Truman Delusion, where people believe they are being watched and that their whole life is just a lie, and they start to go insane. There have been records of people attacking other people thinking they are actors and would do extreme things to leave what they think is fake. User/Worthless319. User/Worthless319 is a Reddit account back in 2016, where this person called Worthless319 was really active within a lot of subreddits. If you go through the person's post history, you can kinda get the idea of what happened and what this guy did. Within a subreddit called /morbidquestions, he asked him, what would hurt worse, having your cut off quickly with large slices or slowly with little slices? And he also asked on another subreddit called r/askreddit, why or why not would alcohol be a decent aesthetic for performing self-surgery? I'm gonna list some other questions that he asked so we can speed this up. How do I gain the strength and mental fortitude to serve God with all my heart? How can I be pleasant enough to mutilate my and die for God? Do you fear waking up to North Korea attacks mainland US or Trump/Kim initiate World War III? So going through this guy's post history, you can kind of get the idea. But as a quick summary, this guy believes he got a message from God in which God told him that if he didn't cut off his own then North Korea would launch a nuke on the US and destroy the whole world. Later on, this guy posted a thread in which he described some things that I cannot talk about on YouTube and wrote, but you can pause and read it for yourself. He also describes that he needed to die for God and prevent a nuclear war. Later on though, in October 2017, the guy posted one last post and was never seen again, so people have come up with the conclusion that the guy killed himself to prevent a nuclear war between the United States and North Korea. At the same time though, this could be all fake and someone just being a troll. The guy did give out pictures of what he did to himself and they seem real because you can't image reverse search them. Within his post history, the guy did claim that he was smoking DMT, so it's possible that smoking DMT which led to his delusional thoughts. Funky Town. This is gonna be short. This is referring to a shock video that was posted among a lot of gore sites that depicts a man's disturbing and foul torture. Some people have come across this video and say that the video is the most disturbing video of all time. And that's all I'm gonna say about this entry. I'm sorry, I just don't want to continue talking about this. Coldness in my heart. Coldness in my heart is referring to a Tumblr user who posts pictures of them inflicting self-harm, and no one knows who this person is, but we do know that the person is female and is maybe living within Germany. There are pictures of her doing what I just said, but no way I'm clicking on that. There isn't much information though from what I can gather, but if anybody knows about anything about this entry, please comment down below. I read everyone's comments and I will pin it. If you stuck around for the end of the video, thank you so much for staying and hearing me talk about useless knowledge of things on the internet. Before I go on with this outro, I want to say something first. I know when I was going down these rabbit holes and reading out some of them to you, and reading the most foul shit in the internet has to offer, I then realized once you go down the rabbit hole, there's always a way to go back up and realize the beauty of this flawed world and enjoy the little things. Like I said in the last video, I did this as a series as a side project for myself and for this channel. I wanted to see if I could get more views from video essays than my gaming videos, and I definitely see the difference. For later on this channel, I'm going to make both video essays and gaming videos. I have a lot of different ideas for this channel, like an Elden Ring playthrough, since the DLC is coming out soon, a whole series of Bloodborne, and I want to play Super Mario Sunshine again for this channel, since back then, I had a really bad MacBook to play games on. I hope you viewers enjoyed this video. If you want to see me make more Iceberg videos, then comment down below and I will read it. One more thing though. Thank you everyone who enjoys my videos and likes my content for you to subscribe to my channel. I never thought of getting 100 subscribers. I know it's not much, but it's something. Thank you guys so much. If I do another Iceberg video, I will surely do every entry in it. Don't worry guys. Enough has been said though. If you stayed and enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for everyone for watching and have a blessed day. See you in the next video. Turning either on or off when he leaves, that he left them the other way around. This is referring to an island that is in the Bay of Bengal. Bengal? Alex from Tennessee is a story from 4chan where Anonymous... Did I spell Anonymous wrong?